welcome back, friends. My name is Michael Yates. This is the Ridgeview Pod, where we try to cover everything hope, healing, and recovery related. For the first time, I think since we've been doing the Ridgeview Pod, we're actually off-site from the main center. We are in Fentress County, here at our outpatient clinic in Jamestown. And my guest today is Rachel Day. Rachel, thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
A little thing that you probably you're not aware of. This is the second time we've done this. So hopefully our mics are working this time. So let me just set the scene as to why we're doing this. I participate in the RCORP Tennessee peer-to-peer phone call that meets every other month, hosted by Robert Childs. And one of the things that came up as we were reporting out to our colleagues across the state, I shared the good news of your addition to this clinic as our new therapist, bringing now 2 therapists to the outpatient clinic, and people were amazed. They're like, impossible. How did you get someone else to be a therapist to join in such a rural location? It would be really neat if you did a story about that or a podcast about that. Hence why you're a guest today.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time and talk about what led you to this field of public mental health. Why are you called to do this kind of work?
I think I've always wanted to do something with mental health. It's not really ever been available around here. And so I remember as a kid, like wanting somebody to talk to and not really knowing how to approach that, and I think that led me to wanting to be that person for other people. So helping, especially where there are less therapists and less mental health services. So that's kind of how I ended up here.
So early on, growing up in a rural part of East Tennessee, here in Fentress, you yourself experienced a need for wanting to talk to somebody and the lack of availability of that service. Yeah. How far would you have had to have traveled to actually see somebody?
An hour, I would say, either to Crossville or Cookeville would have been the nearest therapist or any kind of mental health services.
Yeah. So a trek.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you go to school not far from here in Cookeville. You end up getting your master's. And now it's time to move on with that, fulfilling your lifelong dream of becoming a outpatient therapist. And this position pops up. Now you can go anywhere in the U.S. And you chose to come back to Jamestown.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it all goes back to why I wanted to do mental health in the first place, because I wanted to meet the needs of my community. And I sort of felt a sense of responsibility to them because I had gone through things when I was a kid and wanted to talk to somebody and felt that missing element to our community. And so whenever Ridgeview started here just a couple years ago, and I heard about it right in time for me to graduate and be looking for a place to start my career, I was so excited that this was even available, that mental health is even talked about in Fentress County now and in Jamestown and Allard, the small rural areas. And so it was kind of like an easy yes. I was just really excited to have that opportunity at all.
Well, as I said previously when we were recording this, we feel very fortunate and very lucky to have you join our team. But let's pretend you weren't from this town. This wasn't your community. And you were speaking to someone who was considering or weighing the pros and cons about, do I go to a suburban location, an urban location? Why rural over those types of locations? I don't remember if you recall what you said when we were...
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I do know that, it is just different. People are different everywhere you go. You work with diverse populations, but here it's like we're a team here, and the community in a sense is like a team here. So I want to support the rural areas that need it the most, and also working with the different services we have here, like the employment services, the STOP program, the case management, the nurse. We get to all work together in one location. And I think that's really nice, because if you go into a more urban setting, then you've got all these specialists and they're all spread out and there's less communication between all of the providers. So I think it's a great opportunity here.
I'm so glad you remember what you said, even if it is just...
It came to me about halfway through.
It's because it really spoke to me when you shared that 2 weeks ago when we were recording this, the holistic approach. And that one of the benefits of working in a rural area is definitely more of that. It's not just seeing the client or the patient for 1 hour once a week, and then you're not aware of anything else going around, those wraparound services. So supportive employment, care coordination, substance use treatment, the psycho-ed groups that take place in this room with other people impacted by substance use. All those things are at play. I think that is one of the unique hallmarks of what rural areas have to offer. How has, part of the RCORP funding is specific to opioid, a response to the opioid impact in rural communities. Have you seen... How have you seen substance use treatment evolve in the community since over the last couple of years?
I think it's definitely different now because, when I was doing like internships and things outside of Fentress County, you see like all of the different programs they have for helping people that are trying to recover from drug use, substance use. And so there are different options. There's meetings everywhere. There's, resources available to get people back on their feet and help them. And so I think around here, that's just not been possible because there's one program, the Manna House, and it's, faith-based and it's a little different. It's definitely the only thing that I know of that's been available until Ridgeview. And so, there's people coming in here voluntarily that just want help, and that's available for them now. And they have a good time in this little room in here, and it's like a community for them, and they get to come together in that way. And I think that's been a huge change.
Yeah. No, community is a critically important word, and I'm glad you use it because that is part of the recovery journey, is realizing that you're not alone, that there are other people that are impacted by some of these hardships, just like you, and that there's a collection of people, a community around you that can help you, support you, help you on that road of recovery. So very neat. Well, I'm glad you were willing to do this a second time.
Let's hope this mic works.
In spite of these little hiccups. Well, as I shared 2 weeks ago, we like to give our viewers a chance to get to know one another a little bit, maybe not so in the professional box, but some of just little neat things about one another. So I've got a couple rapid fire questions here, if you'll indulge me.
Okay, go for it.
I cannot remember if I asked you these before. Some of these may be the same, some may be different.
Okay.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
That's tough. I think I stay up too late. But I wake up pretty energetic. I'm ready to go in the morning, so.
I hate to tell you this, my dear friend, but as the years pass, you'll find that your bedtime becomes earlier and earlier and earlier. So. But you are getting up earlier in the morning.
Yep, that's true.
Okay, so if you could travel back in time, now this is not going to be very far for you, but let's say you were going back to your 16-year-old self.
Okay.
What advice would you give yourself?
Ooh. Oh man. Let's see. I would say be a little more independent and look out a little further in the world. Don't just I think I would tell myself to have a broader scope.
So you grew up in Allard.
Mm-hmm.
So your life experiences were pretty much limited to the Allard community?
For the most part. I lived in Cookeville for 5 years, but still that's, we're talking an hour away. So.
All right. What has been your favorite family vacation?
Oh gosh, I love big family trips to Tybee Island, like cousins, Graham. We all just used to rent one big house at Tybee Island and spend the week there, and those were my favorite.
How'd you guys pick Tybee?
We have a family friend that lives in Savannah, so they've spent time there, and I think that's probably how we heard it.
My wife and I took our kids to Tybee when they were probably 10, somewhere in there.
I like the laid back beach, like not less Panama City, more like let's chill and read a book on the beach.
Yes. It was what I remember so vividly were the cargo ships that were coming out of the Savannah Harbor. And then also the Civil War fort that's kind of right there.
We went to that. Yeah.
All right. Are you a cook?
I cook some. My boyfriend cooks more than I do, but I do cook. I do cook some, yeah.
All right. Well, let's pretend you're making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Okay.
And what 3 guests, non-family, would you invite?
Okay, big Taylor Swift fan, so I'm going to say Taylor Swift. Let me think. Non-family, who am I inviting?
You have already ingratiated yourself to my daughter, who's a big Taylor Swift fan. So yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's just the right choice there. Okay. Let's see. Somebody like, is this still? This is hard for me. I don't know. Can I pick like a book character?
Sure.
Okay.
These are called Rachel rules.
Perfect. I'm going to go for my favorite book. His name's Demon from Demon Copperhead. And then let's see, like George Washington or something. I don't know.
Wow.
That'd be interesting.
What an eclectic group of guests. All right. I'll be a fly on the wall and just eavesdrop. All right. Well, very good. Thank you for playing along.
Yes.
It was as much fun the second time as it was the first time.
I enjoyed it.
We hope that you enjoyed this. Thank you to Robert Childs and the Tennessee Peer-to-Peer Group for encouraging us to do this. We hope some of this information and general discussion has been not only informative, but fun. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time on the Ridgeview Pod. Bye-bye.